our next speaker, Sean Lovett, there you are, is an entrepreneur. He is the founder of Revive Drinks, a kombucha company in Windsor. And he's an entrepreneur who has a real passion for sustainable entrepreneurship and sustainable business. So he's going to talk about that. The title of his talk is Gotta Give to Get.
We should donate the Clash for Conquerors to our car movement. So I think there's a developing movement in sustainable entrepreneurship, and I'd like to share why we need this, how we should encourage it, and ultimately how easy it is to get involved in this process. And ultimately, you got to give to get to be able to achieve in this. As entrepreneurs, I think we have the freedom, the opportunity, and the responsibility to affect this change at an exponential level and to begin the conversation that needs to happen where we talk about what we're really expecting out of our businesses, and we have the opportunity to take that risk ultimately. If we shift our focus away from consumers and their spending habits and begin to take inventory as designers, producers, and retailers, how we're offering these products to consumers, we then can have another conversation where we begin to shift focus and look at what we mean in a profitable business. If we look at the true costs associated with our production, for instance, the environmental impact from the production, packaging, distribution, sales, and probably most important, the disposal of the products we're producing, would we really be ultimately having profitable businesses in the end? It's a global issue. It's your world, it's my world. And if we're going to affect change, my belief is that we need a movement to happen of sustainable entrepreneurs at a global scale that ultimately start to take action and take risks at a local level. Yeah, one of the things I love about Sonoma County is that ultimately we can talk about these things and we share the same consciousness, and that a lot of people understand what it means to be sustainable, so it's sort of preaching to the choir. But ultimately the challenge we have is that the rest of the world does not necessarily share the same paradigm as we do, and we need to begin to open a conversation where they can understand that we understand what their perspective is, we come to a common ground, and we can begin to have a discussion with them about what our paradigm is and what we believe a sustainable future might look like. The example here is from economics. Old woman, young woman. I still can't see the young woman, by the way. As entrepreneurs, risk is inherent in our name. It's a risk-reward type relationship. And my viewpoint is that as a sustainable entrepreneur, if we can shift that focus of being sustainable, it's shifting it into something that's inherently good, and as a result the reward will be inherently good. And we need to take action, and the best way to do that, I believe, is you go after the least sustainable thing in your business, and we start there, and that becomes the pivot point within your business, that you begin with a sustainable mindset. This is out in the ocean, by the way, all those plastic bottles. And if we look at our business in a holistic approach and we start to take a look at the production process, the sales process, and we can start to look at that and say, how do we create this so that it fits in line with the vision and mission we have for our company, and ultimately what we would like our company to look like if it was a sustainable company. And yeah, you can have fun with it, right? You can create options and opportunity where ultimately the consumer starts to get involved with the process, right? They see their investment in a sustainable process, and ultimately they start to see the reward in that, and they really start to see the effect that they're having. And this requires an investment. So as entrepreneurs, we need to make the capital investment in the sustainable process first, and understand that that's the foundation upon our business will be built. These are Italian refillable bottles. Love that. And it's not really efficient usually when you're building a sustainable business. We've had years of experience to perfect the most efficient production processes available. We need to take that knowledge and experience now and begin to shift that and use that in our sustainable business models that we create. And everyone's will be different, obviously. And if we want this process and movement to last, I believe we need to cultivate an open and creative environment so that we as a group can continue to inspire each other. This is pretty inspiring, I think. And motivate each other to keep this process going so that it doesn't seem so dull and dry, and that ultimately it's an engaging process. And this is what I believe is the most important, is that in order for this to really have an exponential effect, we need to engage our industry, engage our fellow small businesses around us, and start to share our mistakes, our successes, and ultimately share the experience together. Yeah. This was my answer to, there's a lot of questions you get along the way and you're not going to know the answer to them, and that's all right, because clearly no one expects you to know the answers all the time. But the idea is we're being open and honest about that. We're not pretending to know the perfect answer or the perfect solution, and certainly naysayers are going to come along the way. I wish I had your criticism slide right now, by the way. That was a lot better. And what we're saying is what we know didn't work in the past, and we're going to work towards a better solution. And that's really the way to sort of take the wind out of the sails of our naysayers along the way. And let's give it away for free is what I say. In sustainable business, I don't think profits can be the primary focus when we start. If you build a righteous product and a truthful brand, ultimately I think consumers will see that and they'll want to associate themselves with you, your product, and your brand, and the profits will come through through loyalty. And keep it real. Be honest, admit your mistakes. Be humble, understand your weaknesses, and don't shame the people around you who are trying to do it. Ultimately, create alternatives and present solutions that they can use to help their businesses along the way. And enjoy the process. It can be a lot of fun, and running a creative business, certainly is very enjoyable, and ultimately requires you to walk the talk. So thank you.